The Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit gives us a representative example of what was happening with psychedelia in San Francisco during that period of the late 1960s. In some ways it's not a perfect representation because there was so much live improvisatory jamming going on in live shows, something that the Grateful Dead really became very famous for being able to do. But a live Jefferson Airplane show also had a significant amount of improv. But this song, White Rabbit, really is more like a kind of radio single with less of that improv element going on, but still pretty ambitious for pop music of the day. The song, which was number 8 on the Billboard charts in 1967, The Summer of Love, the same time as the Beatles released Sgt. Pepper, with words and music by Grace Slick. The music itself is interesting in that it seems to blend together a kind of Spanish kind of flavor, I think based in part on a famous classical piece by Maurice Ravel called Bolero, which uses a bolero rhythm and starts out very, very quietly. It's actually a kind of a study in instrumentation in the orchestra because of the ways in which Ravel combines many different instruments together to create all kinds of fantastic timbres in the orchestra. A lot of times music students who are studying orchestration have a very close look at Ravel's bolero. But the basic shape of the piece is to start from extremely quiet and then to build to a fantastic loud and dramatic finish, so that the basic dynamic level goes from very quiet straight up very gradually to a sort of a big crescendo at the very end, and its loudest and biggest at the very end. The Jefferson Airplane take that idea and apply it to this song, although the Ravel piece takes several minutes to get through. This one, only 2 minutes and 27 seconds. They apply it to White Rabbit and then use some licks that are also sort of influenced by Miles Davis's album that was popular about that time called Sketches of Spain. So you get something kind of like a bolero rhythm. It isn't a bolero rhythm, but you get something like a bolero rhythm. It starts out very quietly. You get a guitar lick that sounds very much like something that might be on that Miles Davis album. And then the song itself unfolds according to an AABA form, with each, the first, after the introduction of 12 measures, you get a verse, an A section of 12 measures, and the next one, the next A section is a little bit louder. The B section of 8 measures is somewhat louder than that. And then finally, driving to the very end, the last A section plus the coda, a full 21 measures when you add on the extra stuff at the end, is the very loudest part of the piece. So it goes from very quiet to very loud, but still cycles through an AABA form while doing it. The lyrics, interestingly, are also draw on the kind of Alice in Wonderland kind of imagery, but seemingly unrelated to what John Lennon was doing at exactly the same time with Lucy and the Sky with Diamonds. But it's not hard to see in a culture that was really starting to experiment with psychedelic drugs how the Alice in Wonderland stories could be an appropriate way of expressing a certain fantastic vision kind of thing that also accompanies hallucinogenic drug use. So the idea of feed your head and all the various references to the Alice stories that occur in this are very much the same thing as what the Beatles were, what John Lennon was doing with Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, however, not directly related to each other. So I hope you enjoy this one. This is the Jefferson Airplane, White Rabbit.